Hey, trick or treat! It's Gayle from BERNINA of Naperville, and I have a little treat for you today on this scary, creepy Halloween evening. I'm going to use the BERNINA November Accessory of the Month, which is the adjustable free motion micro-stippling foot and an easy little hoop from Nifty Notions. It's a spring hoop, so it'll fit in there under your embroidery machine or your regular sewing machine very easily. This item, the spring hoop, it can be used on any sewing machine that can do free motion quilting. Basically, drop your feed dogs and add a darning foot. So I hope that you'll enjoy it. Now, of course, we're going to be using our BERNINA 880 Plus, and the end result, well, I think you're going to like that too. It's this little skeleton wings. Now, this is just a little skeleton figurine that I picked up, really cheap, like $5 or whatever, but we added these wings. That's right, these wings are what we're making in the video. You might have noticed back here the little Dumbo theme. Well, I was a mouse and Camilla was Dumbo. But you know what? We wore her out yesterday at the store, which was Saturday, right before Halloween, dressing up and everything. So she's sleeping today. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get started with the demo. I've taken a design that I got off of Adobe. It is a non-licensed butterfly drawing. I separated the vector image so that I have butterfly wing quadrants, and I'm going to need to trace each one of these. I'm using a product about 18 inches of Badge Master and then the Aqua Mesh stabilizer. So I'm using two layers. The Badge Master acts like a starch and the Aqua Mesh acts just like water-soluble stabilizer. Now, I don't like looking at the glare so much when I'm doing my free motion embroidery, so I actually trace with the Aqua Mesh on top. Then I'm going to slip my drawing underneath. You could use one of the Nifty Notions light boxes if you wanted, but I can see very easily through this. So now I'm going to trace around my butterfly wings. Once you trace everything, it's time to use your Nifty Notions spring hoop. Now, I find that this is the perfect size because I can really manipulate it. I don't need to wear gloves. I don't need to do a whole lot other than just snap this right into the spring. So I'm going to put one of my butterfly wings right in the hoop like this, and notice how I do this in the middle so that I, get everything full coverage right in the hoop. And I'm going to do one wing at a time right in my hoop, just like this. Perfect. So now it's time to take this over to my sewing machine. So I'm going to use the Isocord number 870 for the top and bottom when I build most of my wings. So I'm just going to fill in all of that area that you saw on the black template with white thread. And then I'm going to switch for the detailing with this black Isocord thread here, and that's also going to be in the top and bottom. Of course, I have little snips to get in the tiny little spaces, and then I'm going to use a micro-stippling foot. I love this one because it's not shiny. I can see it really well, and it's open, so I can see exactly what's happening. So I'm going to load these things up first with the creamy white thread, and then we're just going to let the needle do its talking. My feed dogs are down for this project, and then I'm just going to lift my presser foot. I'm using the BERNINA 880 Plus, and I also like using the freehand system with this so that I can easily raise that presser foot up and down and get my hoop under here. But see how this hoop is nice and flat. A normal wooden hoop or whatever, you wouldn't be able to get under here quite like this. And the round hoop really helps keep your piece taut all the way around. And I suppose some of you might say, well, couldn't I use my embroidery module hoop? And yeah, I suppose you could, but I like getting this little concentrated space with these. Plus, these guys aren't very expensive at all. So you have to decide where you want to start on this. And I am just going to start right here at the end of this wing. And I'm going to put my needle down and bring my needle up. to pull my bobbin thread up, just like that. Now, when I start, I am just gonna be making a little grid. So I just kind of sew around my, wing, kind of defining the area of the wing first. And then I'm gonna go around, come up through the veining here. It's okay to double sew. And you also want to make sure that you're connecting all of these pieces together, because the idea is that as we do this, we're kind of creating our own freestanding lace. And we don't want this to pull apart when we get it wet. See how I'm kind of going over top of myself there and back. And then I'm going to come back over here, do a little bit more, going around again, doing some lines really close to each other like this. Back again. And you know, I have to tell you, you probably aren't going to have two wings the same. I never do, and I've been doing a lot of these wings. So I'm just trying to make like a little grid. Just like this. Let's come back again. We've got a little grid to go down this side. And then this side. And then once I get that going, I want to kind of make another little grid. Now we want to go up this direction, the opposite direction. So I'm just going to go the opposite direction, making a little grid. And your design does not have to be straight. Please keep that in mind. But I am always kind of weaving it in to my little openings there. Those pieces that I am not filling in are going to be open. And then if you feel like you need to go in and fill in a little bit more, do so. And I'm just using a straight stitch right now. Remember, a straight stitch, when you're doing free motion, you are in control of the stitch length and you are in control of the speed of the machine. And you can go wherever you want to go. You're not limited by the feed dogs. So now, all I'm going to do is fill this in with some curlicue stitching. Coming back and making sure I really stitch through these little areas, as well as just curlicuing around. Kind of, you have to interlock them together so that they are happy and don't pull apart when we wash our wings. I'm just kind of filling this in, going in all different directions. And it really is going to look very spider webby. All right, so once you get something like that, you're going to switch to a zigzag stitch. It doesn't really matter the width, but mine is at 3.6 millimeters. And now we're going to fill in this area so that this is nice and stiff, so that our butterfly wings will stand up. And the key to doing this properly is to switch angles every once in a while so that you really create this interlocking stitch so our wings don't pull apart. Let's go down this way. Time to kind of go the other direction on this one. And let's go up kind of like this. And back, and down, and back, and up. Okay, let's swing over. Come back. And see how I'm getting a nice satin stitch on this? All right, once you have a wing, just like this, you're going to go ahead and do the same technique with the other wings, and then you're going to switch your thread to black and do some veining. It's time to add a little veining and a little accent. So just like we did before, we're going to put that needle down into the material to bring our bobbin up, and I have switched my bobbin thread to the black. We don't need to keep the thread so connected. We just want to create some veining. Like if we were going to make a butterfly wing, what do butterfly wings look like? You know, don't get too heavy with this detail. Just kind of make something look, you know, mildly realistic. fun with it, you know? And you're going to do the veining on all of your butterfly wings. All 4 pieces. And once you get it to this level, you're going to trim your threads. You're going to finish all of your wings. You're going to trim really close to the edge here, and then you're going to give your wings a bath. Now, once you give your wings a bath, you're going to let them dry, and you can kind of let them dry kind of crinkly or whatever, and kind of shape them a little bit when they're damp. But then when they're fully dry, you're going to just use a hot glue stick to glue them onto the back of your skeleton. Now, you know, like once again, I use this figurine, but you might be able to put them on some dollar store little hanging skeletons or things like that. And then another thing I wanted to talk to you about is obviously we are working with the BERNINA 73 foot, which is this guy here. And this is adjustable. So on our application that we did today, we actually had the foot all the way down. But you might be wanting to use this for quilting and not free motion embroidery. So in that case, you can adjust this little brass ring here, and that will lift up the foot, and it will allow you to really do micro stippling over fluffy material, like especially if you're doing things like trapunto, where you really want to do the fine stippling but then show the puff next to something like that. It's also great if you have the sit down Q16, Q16 plus, Q20, because the Q series doesn't have a presser foot pressure adjustment. And sometimes on those sit down things, it's nice to be able to have feet that do have the adjustable height here. So keep those things in mind. And hey, November 1st through November 30th, this foot is 25% off. You can't beat that, huh? And you can buy it online from Bernina of Naperville by visiting www.berninaofnaperville.com. All right, what did you think? Pretty easy, right? I mean, now this is Halloween, and of course we're trying to do creepy things, but this would be really cool to do dragonfly wings or butterfly wings, or why not limit it to wings? You could do anything your heart's desired with this technique. And if you want to see more videos and tutorials, don't forget to check out our Bernina of Naperville YouTube channel. It's easy. It's youtube.com/Bernina of Naperville, and there you can like, comment, and subscribe. Now, I gotta go. It's time to greet the little trick-or-treaters, and I look forward every year to see what costumes they're wearing. Cheers!